Welcome to Watch Me Go Broke. I got a joke for you. Two samurais walk into a bar and the bartender says, "Hey, you guys get out of here." And then the samurais say, "Well, what? For why? For what reason?" And the bartender says, "Because you don't have sapphire crystal." I got that joke from somebody that used to write for Jay Leno, so it's not great. Well, I've got two samurais for you today for review, so let's awkwardly bend over a table and take a look. Okay guys, on my wrist today is my BLWRX 1000-meter diver. I really like this watch. I'm kind of getting into using less watches in rotation than I usually do. Starting to get a lot more repeats because they are great watches. I don't know if you're like me, but I think your taste in watches kind of changes over time. It's sort of like with the seasons. You have watches you like to wear during certain seasons, and that kind of flare and change. You still love all your watches, but you have more go-tos during certain time periods. All right, a double review for you today. I have two samurais, so there's no need to do two individual reviews of them. I think they are both unique in their own right, but they do have the same specs. So we've got the Orange Samurai and the Samurai from the Save the Ocean series. If you remember, I did a review of the Seiko Save the Ocean chronograph, and this is part of that three series that they released along with the Seiko Turtle, which I do not have in my possession, although I would definitely like to get. So let's go ahead and start with the Save the Ocean. So you've got a 43 millimeter case. It's going to be a thickness of 13 millimeters, a lug to lug of 48 millimeters, 22 millimeter lug width tapering down to 20 at the clasp, back up to 23.5 with the clasp. It's going to be an all 316L stainless steel case. The majority of it is brushed. There is some polishing on the sides, a little indentation that is polished there, and that on the Save the Ocean, other than just underneath the bezel, is going to be the only polish that you're going to find on the case. The bracelet does have edges of the center links are polished going all the way down. This is going to be pin and collar, and interesting story in regards to this bracelet very quickly. I purchased this actually from a jeweler, because they had it at a very good price, and they offered, "Hey, do you want me to size it for you?" And yes, my pain with pin and collar, it runs deep, so I said, "Yes, please do it." So the jeweler, a very, very nice lady, she struggled and struggled and struggled and struggled and struggled until finally she asked me to give it a try. And I'm not making this up. This is the honest to God truth. She asked me to give it a try, so she handed it to me over the counter with her tools, and then I finally was able to get it out to size. So yeah, just not a fan of pin and collar whatsoever. However, as far as Seiko bracelets go, this is not overly terrible as usual. So the clasp is going to be your standard Seiko stamped metal clasp. It does have a diver's extension, but the diver's extension is not on the normal side that it would be. It is actually on this side. If I can get it to engage here. Probably can't with gloves. I don't know. Let's see my internal struggle. If I'm not doing it right, I will edit this out because I don't want to look like a fool. Okay. And because I realized I was pulling from the wrong side, doing this with gloves is amazingly hard, so I can't imagine how freaking hard it would be with diving gloves. Okay, there you go. There you go. Okay, so there you are. There we go. There we go. Yay, diver's extension out. Something you'll never use ever in your life. Okay, great, awesome. Yeah, great. I'm glad we looked at that. Case back's going to be your standard Seiko Prospex case back with the Seiko Wave there. It's not called the Seiko Wave. It's something in Japanese that I don't recall. You've got Air Divers 200 meters Seiko Special Edition. Again, a special edition, not limited, so you're not going to have difficulty finding this one at all. There's a serial number there, and it does say Air Divers, so this is an ISO certified dive watch. Solid end links as well, which I forgot to mention, with drilled lug holes. And that is going to come in very handy when you try to change bracelets on this particular watch. Hardlex crystal, again, at this price point, Seiko dropping the ball yet again. Hardlex crystal, I mean, I haven't really had a huge problem with Hardlex, but again, sapphire would have been wonderful at this price point. 120 click unidirectional bezel. I like the bezel action on this. I think it's very resistant, very smooth. It feels good. I actually turn this just for fun. This watch I probably turn the bezel the most on because it's very easy to turn. It makes a nice satisfying sound. Lining up, it's okay. There is, you can see, a lot of play. So lining up, it lines up pretty well in comparison to like what an SKX would be. The chapter ring is pretty well aligned, but you know, not the greatest bezel in the world. This is going to be powered by the Seiko NH35 movement. It hacks and hand winds and beats at 21,600 vibrations per hour. What most folks talk about the Save the Ocean series is the dial. And a lot of people, and you see how it catches the light there, you can kind of see, it's sort of got lines on it that mimic waves, which is an interesting way to do it. Omega has a different way that they do wave mimicking. It looks good on theirs. Yeah, it just sort of looks like, you know, the ocean basically. So it starts off with a brighter blue and then goes down to black, reminiscent of like the James Cameron Sea Dweller, Deep Sea Dweller dial. It takes a little bit of a nod from that. All applied indices with Seiko's Lumi Bright, the Seiko logo printed below the 12, and then the Prospect Divers X above the 6, along with automatic and Divers 200M, and then Movement Japan, and then the 4R35 movement code, which is, it is the NH35, they just call it 4R35 movement. The 4R36 would be their one with the day-date complication. And there is a loom shot. Seiko's loom is really second to no one. It is very bright. It lasts through the entire night. I'm sure Rolex probably gives it a little bit of a run for the money, but Seiko loom, when you buy a Seiko watch, especially a Seiko diver, you are going to be blown away by the loom, and this is no exception. So the bezel is actually coated in what best I can describe color is like a gunmetal style color, and that translates to the crown there. The crown action is pretty good. It has a substantial distance to screw in. There you can hand wind, hack it. You know, I always roll forward when I'm setting the time. I know some people go backwards. I've just never been a fan of doing that. Date change right at 12. Really good for a Seiko. So I'll give you what I like when I get to the Orange Samurai, but I will tell you what I don't like about this Save the Ocean. I don't like the dial. A lot of people love the dial. That's why they get this particular watch. I don't really care for the dial. I think it just kind of looks plasticky. It looks cheap, in my opinion. It's just my opinion, guys. It's not blowing me away. And if you look at the date window, how sloppily, I wish I had a macro, maybe I can put one up, of how sloppily that's cut. If sloppily is a word, I use a lot of words that don't exist. But you see, like, even on the left side of it, there's almost like a nick or something. Like, I don't know. It's just poor quality control on Seiko's part. But on this beautiful Orange Samurai, I am actually using a strap code bracelet that is made for the Samurai. It has angular links that match the case. If you notice, you see how this is, you know, a weird angle. That translates into this just gorgeous bracelet. I mean, it really, really is gorgeous with a fantastic clasp. This is going to be your standard clasp. This is a fantastic clasp on any watch. But this bracelet is really, really amazing for the Samurais. You can take it to the bank on that one, that this is great. Now, it is a pain in the butt to put on the watch. You know, popping it off's fine because you've got the drilled lug holes. But getting this on here, you have to hold it at a weird angle. I've read comments, you know, on forums and stuff. People have tried for hours to get it on and they could not. You can't do it the traditional way. you kind of have to maybe come at it from this angle, like from the side rather than through the top. And I was successful doing that. I've actually had this bracelet on both the Save the Ocean and this regular Samurai. But this bracelet, it's absolutely fantastic. So the same specs on this orange one that you'd find on the Save the Ocean, except you have a beautiful orange dial that I think is just fantastic. Between these two Samurais, I think this one is the winner today. We're not going head to head, not really a competition, but you know, I like that this has stainless steel instead of the gunmetal, and I know that's a special edition, so that's okay, and how all the items on the case match. But just that dial is just so gorgeous. Again, Lumi Bright from Seiko is great. Bezel action, again, fantastic. I love it. Love turning it. One thing I didn't mention on the Save the Ocean version, the loom pip, it's recessed, so I don't have to worry about hacking it off. Yes, yes, I wish everybody did this. Everybody did it. That would be so awesome. So then I wouldn't have to worry about anything. But all in all, these two watches are fantastic, and this Save the Ocean is definitely eye-catching. I know a lot of department stores have this. I know Macy's has this version. Actually, I think they have both versions. And it is definitely eye-catching. When you look down and it's under the fancy lights and stuff like that, this is the one you want to grab for sure. If you do get it, I don't think you'd be disappointed whatsoever. I think the Samurai is a fantastic watch. There are numerous colorways that you can get, and really to suit any sort of taste. You can get them on a rubber strap, get them on the bracelet, but if you do get a Samurai, get the strap code bracelet that is made for it. You will not be disappointed, and you will never look at this Seiko bracelet again. And there is the Samurai on my 7 1/4 inch wrist. That bracelet is just so cool. Like, gosh, how much cooler can you get? And how much more modern can you get? This is super, super modern, super modern. So if you're a hipster, you're a millennial, you know, one of those weird people, you'll get it, because I think you'll really, really like it. Well, there you go. I've never been more satisfied to show you a deuce in my life. I think these are some great watches. If you can get past the not having the sapphire crystal thing, I think you'll be very satisfied.